Rockets have evolved throughout our history, from weapons of war and fireworks for festivals into the modern rockets that shoot humanity into space. But before we can discuss the innovations that drove these changes, let's first talk about what exactly defines a rocket. The simplest definition of a rocket is a cylindrical item propelled by combustion. To get more specific, a rocket must have a propellant or fuel, a place to store this propellant, and some sort of nozzle which controls how fast the fuel is expelled. The first early rockets appeared in China in the form of a bamboo tube filled with gunpowder and were often attached to arrows or fireworks. The first true rockets were used in the Battle of Kaikang in 1232, where the Chinese fought back the Mongols by barraging them with rockets. From here, the Mongols spread this idea of rockets to the Europeans and innovation began to take off. Johann Schmidlapp, a 16th century fireworks maker, introduced the idea of multi-stage rockets. A multi-stage rocket has one bottom rocket that carries the whole thing up until running out of fuel, at which point it attaches and activates a second higher up rocket. This vastly increased the range a rocket was able to go. The next big innovations came in 1898 with Russian schoolteacher Konstantin Tsikolsky, who proposed that rockets could be used to explore outer space, and for his contributions is known as the father of modern astronautics. He also introduced the idea that a liquid fuel could be used to replace gunpowder because it converted more energy to thrust. Robert Goddard was the first to put these theories to practical experiment. He proved that liquid fuel is actually more efficient, and thus alcohol-based fuel became the new favored propellant. He also improved the nozzle using a design from the 19th century by Gustave de Laval. This de Laval nozzle was shaped in a way to maximize the velocity of the gas leaving the rocket, which helped increase the speed.
The first major government-funded rocket program unfortunately came under the Nazi government in Germany. Led by Dr. Werner von Braun, the V-2 program created the first long-range rockets and had the capacity to go to space. The improvements made by Goddard and the V-2 program finally gave rockets the range to reach outer space like Tsiolkovsky had imagined almost 40 years earlier. The first rocket to actually do so was the Soviet R-7 in 1957. The R-7 used a multi-stage system similar to Schmidlapp's fireworks from 400 years ago. It also used a more efficient kerosene fuel instead of alcohol fuel. Finally, it made the fuel tank the main body of the vehicle. With this, the space race took off. This all led up to bigger and more powerful rockets that took people to space in 1961 and eventually to the moon in 1969. They went from the Juno rocket only being able to carry a 24-pound payload to Saturn V rockets carrying 50 tons in just 11 years. More recently, in 2013, the SpaceX Grasshopper rocket was able to use computer guidance and a planned flight path to land back in the same spot it had taken off. Both of the innovations serve to dramatically decrease the cost of rockets going forward and help us venture off into the unknown.